start getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate, marching on these streets of blood.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
How are you, Steve?
Well, my back's a little tight, standing and sitting out there from 8:07 to 7:01 last night.
I'm impressed, though. You stay the whole time, and so the deal was, of course, a lot's changed on my end of things, but we were gonna take shifts and every 2 hours kind of thing, and so I got there and I planned on doing the morning, and then we were talking obviously about the vote yesterday at the school for the town, and so I'm like, oh, I have so much going on now. Like my life is nuts, crazy, run. This is all I do is nonstop, and so I was like, I really have a dig I'm supposed to be doing today. I'm supposed to fix someone's sewer pipe, and you're like, no, go ahead. So I appreciate you covering for me. And
if I were that customer, I'd want you out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm glad I got it done. It was like an older couple, and yeah, I'm glad we were just able to go out and get it done. And yeah, and then you said it was funny because Bert spent the whole day out there with you.
He did,
because I figured he'd kind of go in and out and whatever.
He was active.
He was loving it. Like, I haven't seen him like that before. He's passing out the little cards. We should have brought one of those. A little card. I mean, if you voted yesterday, you'd seen one that said Support Article 21, and thank you for everyone that voted. It passed overwhelmingly. What was it, 704? I think I told you, to 145 or something like that. Yep. So we'll see what happens for now, as far as that goes. But
yeah, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate all the votes. We appreciate everyone that came out to vote. It's super important. So
yeah, we're so lucky to be able to it's mob rule. Whenever you think about democracy is mob rule. I know everybody's like, we don't want mob rule,
right?
But when you vote like that, it's mob rule.
Yeah, people get to speak and be heard, and that's the nice thing is like these national elections we complain about all the time, right? And duly so. The problem is your voice is so small. But here, town 6,500 people, 7,000 people, you get to vote and you have a say on. It's 21 articles. This is a lot of articles.
A lot of articles.
It was 3-page technically, but 2 separate sheets of paper, and which is the first I've seen, for that. And some people went in and it took a while. They came out. It was a while, and I get it, because if you weren't versed on everything and you didn't know what everything was, it was a lot to read. But appreciate everyone that came out and voted. So Jeff North and Barry Connell won. Jeff North got 456 votes. Barry Connell got 373. Bert Spellingstein got 285. Herb Teller got 205. Doug Ring got 199. And all the articles passed, which is good. I know that a lot of people are still torn on the sewer thing, but I think overall it's the best decision to not have to worry about fines and everything, and then hopefully over the next year or two we can figure out ways to try to ease that burden on the people that now.
I'm just shocked that passed.
And it was a big number too.
Was it really?
Yeah, it wasn't like it barely passed, because it had to have a 60% threshold, which is always a challenge with these. Is when if you need 60%, it can be a tough thing to do. That's a big number to overcome. But let's see. You talk. Let me find it.
Well, I was torn about it because I feel that it's 8 times more expensive than the last one they tried to do. Like, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I feel that's a large number of money. I don't care that they got millions of dollars in grants. That's still somebody's money.
Yeah, so make sure I'm saying it right. Yes, Article 5 pass, and there's a little scribbly here, but 660 to 192.
Wow.
So I got like 75%, a little over 75%. So it needed 60% threshold. So, yeah, close to it, well over. It was funny too because there's a sheet on here that says like other people. You can write in people too, and for selectmen it was Stanton. You got 1 vote. Matt Miller got 1 vote. John Hooper III got 1 vote. Gavin Lovely, congratulations, you got 1 vote. David Cahill, I believe, if it's a David Cahill, I think he lives in Sunapee. He's a police chief over there. Okay. And then town clerk, Scott Stanton got 1 vote. Nick Decato got 1 vote. Charlene Urban, 1. Nobody got 1 vote, so nobody. For treasurer, Nick Decato got 1. Roseanne Gentes got 1. And Susan Wells got 2 by the looks. And then this one I love. This one's a good one. For the trustee of the funds, Mickey Mouse got a vote. Nick Decato got another vote. Bert Spalding Sr. got a vote. And Harriet St. Lawrence got a vote. But I thought it was funny to see.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. So, so yeah, everything passes. It's tough because I understand like the people like sewer bill is going to go up, and but it's kind of one of those things too. Like, okay, if you damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. All I know is this better be the fix, and this. I mean, obviously it is the fix. It's new, but this better be something that lasts a long time.
I hope it doesn't destroy our town.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I agree. It's scary because your bills are going to go up. What was it? It was more than double. It was like 100 and
basically,
I think it was like 103% or something.
It was closer to like 125.
I thought it was more. And of course, that was based off of the number that they had gave,
like their average, which is well below what you look up online
right.
and find the average.
So I mean,
so I'm surprised they use that as an average because
right.
you can literally Google average. Granted, maybe they're taking our local whatever, but I doubt it. I don't know.
Now, granted, the percentage won't change. The percentage your bill goes up will be the percentage. However, they're giving an example of, if it's 4,000 gallons a month, this is how much it will be. But most people are going to be.
Well, I don't think they use that as an example. I think they said the average user or an average of 4,000 gallons, which, according to Google on its main page, is not even more than 1.5 people or something for 4,000. It's like 1.78 people equals 4,000 gallons, generally speaking.
They figure I think it was like 70 gallons per day per person in a house, which sounds about right, And it obviously depends, right? An older couple will use less water because less laundry, less showers. Where, my house, for instance, which I have my own well, but for an example, a bunch of kids, a lot of laundry, you use more water, obviously. This is, I guess, where those two developments coming on board will help because their water use will help offset the cost of the system, or at least the sewer part. It will help a little bit. There could be other downfall with that, of course, but which it's actually interesting because
28 million or 23, whatever the number was, is a lot of money for a town of 6,000.
Yeah,
like it doesn't even. I got it that they got grants. Commend them for doing so, but 10 million is still a lot of money for a town of 6,500, 7,000, and then only 1,400 to 2,000 are actually going to be using said service monthly.
What's
daily.
crazy about it too is you could literally, wow, yeah.
I'll tell you, I voted no just because of the impact it's going to have on a small portion of our town. That's a lot of money for a small portion of our town to cover. And my only hope now is Paul Brown stood up at the deliberative and said, hey, we have a couple of years. We can try to find some stuff out. And so when actually Paul Brown, who's not elected, right, but he gave me more confidence than the brief from the engineer, because all I thought about was $4 million for this. Like, put a nicer suit on, hand out bottled water to the entire town. You're getting $4 million from a town of 6,500.
That's the sickening part of it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you as a firm are okay with charging $4 million to design a system that should be already designed, and you can go and copy other people's designs for the most part. Yeah, you got to tweak it here and there, but nothing's ever new once you've done one thing once. Once you've done something once, everything else copies off of it. Plagiarism is the way to go. That's how everything is in life. You look at books and stories, they're all borrowing parts or influenced subconsciously or consciously. So anyway, the whole thing to me just stinks of government overreach, in the sense of dictating and mandating and threatening a town of 6,500 to install a 20 million plus water treatment plant paid for by 2,000 citizens.
Yeah,
I mean, like, nothing about that makes sense. Like, when you read through that, you should be like, no, hell no, this ain't even fair. It doesn't even look right, taste right. It doesn't sit well with me. And to me, that's the only, that was the most important thing on the ballot for me yesterday, was because we're going to figure out the bus barn one way or the other, that we're going to get the kids to school. It's got to, like, there's going to be a solution for that, right? And I say that because we're involved in that, and I wanted it to pass, obviously.
Right.
But this one had the most, just doesn't sit well with me. Still doesn't. I'm the town supports it, apparently, the ones that voted. So I hope what Paul Brown said can be done, and they can find ways to reduce the cost towards the users.
Yeah, because we're running people out of town because they can't afford to live here anymore.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be the case.
No.
Ever.
Should take care of our citizens and think about their needs and put them first, not some threat, not some,
bureaucrat
engineering firm getting $4 million to design. Whatever. I got in the wrong field. I should have been. I mean, granted, the engineers, it's hard work. It's not easy to get that degree and to be able to do that. But $4 million, you're ripping off a small town, man. You're not designing some new, proprietary system.
Yeah.
That's going to make our water the best in the entire country. You're taking plans that already exist all throughout the country and tweaking it to fit ours with your own ruler or slide rule. I mean, I'm kind of crapping on that firm, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was thinking about, like, $28 million. You could build a new school for $28 million. Maybe not our whole school.
Is it 28 or 23?
Well, no, it's 28 total. It was 23 and
so it is 28.
Yeah, it was 28 total. The number was on there. It said 23, but that's because I believe that, and then you add in Shaheen's $6 million or something, or they had said 28.
That's what I thought.
Because it's
but
23.
Somewhere.
Because it's 23 for the system, and then the difference, it was the engineering stuff. That's how I understand it anyway. So if someone wants to correct me on that, okay. But I mean, I've been at these things and I've asked, and it's an estimate too, right? Because until, like, now we have the approval, they'll go for the funding, and then they can get the actual bids, and it could come in cheaper, but I wouldn't bank on that.
No.
But it could come
not
in
if
more
they're
expensive.
charging you $4 million. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And maybe it is that expensive, but then I'm all engineering firms that design this across the country, you're highway robbing people.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I just
no argument for me.
I know.
We've had this conversation so many times. As, like, even with CTE, is like the people that get the most money are architects and engineers, and they do the least amount of work. Now, if you're an architect or engineer, you're going to disagree with me, and you're going to say, you know, I'm an idiot and all this and
I got it.
whatever.
But
if you
it takes a lot of work and dedication. My roommate was a electrical engineer, and that dude
But I can tell you one thing:
never slept, never had fun.
Any person that you work in construction, in auto, in any industry, okay, that deals with architects or engineers, will tell you they're, and I don't honestly mean to these people in town that are listening, they're idiots, but it's more of a practical things versus this looks good on paper, right? This design looks good. This design, according to my computer program, says that structurally it holds and everything. And I'm not trying to take away from the fact that you have to know a lot of information, and you're also responsible for if that fails and it was designed wrong. Like, I get it, there's a lot, but practicality versus reality of these things don't seem to line up. And you get a set of plans and you're like, okay, and you go to do it and you're like, yeah, right, this isn't even, we can't do it because it looks good on paper. But so if you ask anyone that in construction business or anything that's work with engineers, it's they're like, yeah, freaking engineer like did this and it can't be done, or this or that, or this is a pain in the ass. Like, it's just not.
Like I said, I know how much work goes into becoming an engineer. I'm just saying, that's a lot of money to spend.
But I get it too. Like, if you're,
no, I see. Like the way that the liability and everything else, I understand.
But
for our town, town this small,
if you're going to design a new school and you're the engineer and you in the architect or whatever, and you do that, and it's a whole new project from the ground up, that's a lot of work, and I get that. But like, for instance, CTE is not a brand new building. There's a remodel, still a lot of work, and I get that. But the sewer thing, and I can speak so much of this because this is what I've done forever. I know this business very well.
And now that I'm saying this, I'm going to go back and look and see how much we're paying the engineering firm because, to be fair.
I thought I was like $1.5 million, but I'm not
See,
sure.
like when you started saying that, I think 1.2 snuck in my head, which is still kind of high. But
which is still less than 10%, which this firm said it was like 9%. And then we did the math when we were sitting in the meeting. It was like, wait a minute, it's like 16%.
It's
so, but the sewer treatment plant, it's a plug and go drop-in. It's not.
I know.
There's not structural things that you have to worry about.
Well, I guess are they putting new ponds in, or?
I don't know, because they're utilizing some of the.
I think they said they were going to have to
but
do.
There's a lot of new concrete tanks and stuff. I don't know.
Well, it passed, so let's hope that.
At the end of the day, it's $4 million.
The only thing that gave me hope was Paul Brown, an unelected official, using logic and reason at the deliberative, saying that there's still a couple years we might be able to find more money. So I hope we find more money. And again, this affects me, but it doesn't affect me because I'm not on the system. But it affects me because it affects my town and the citizens that I share this great place with. So I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of that, my wife texted me and told me I should talk about something on the show today, and it kind of goes with the sewer treatment plant. So, all right, here we go. So, Mother's Day giveaway, Beard Sewer and Drain, who my wife is the owner of Beard Sewer and Drain now. So, originally, I owned it. Obviously, I started the business. My brother took over the business a little over 2 years ago. Was paying me for business, whatever, and decided a couple weeks ago that it's just too much. He doesn't want to do it anymore, and was like, huh, yay. So my wife took over the business. Obviously, I'm still, I'm doing stuff and whatever, but
you're an employee of your wife.
Yeah, in theory. Yeah. So anyways, so we're doing a Mother's Day giveaway, which when I first saw this, I was like, oh, and then I was seeing, now I'm reading it, I'm like, geez, they're giving a lot away. So if you go on Facebook, Beard Sewer and Drain, the Facebook page, you have to like our page, and then
now, are they a sponsor of the show?
They're a sponsor of the show. So like the page and share the post, and this the 12th, yep. So this Friday at 9 a.m. we're going to do a live drawing, and you're entered for a $50 gift card to Salt Hill, a bouquet of flowers, and $100 cash. And it's from a Mother's Day giveaway. So super simple, quick and easy. Like Beard Sewer and Drain on Facebook, and then just share this post. You'll be entered, and then we'll do a live 9 a.m. on Friday. Boom, pull a name out.
Yeah, y'all used to do this a lot.
Yeah, we did one for Christmas and like Thanksgiving. We've done a few of them.
Like when you owned
Yeah.
it in the past.
Yeah, and this was all my wife's idea. I didn't know anything about it. Well, I knew about it after, but I think it's great. So we'll see. Expect her obviously to do something for Father's Day too. But yeah, anyone out there that it's so simple. Like the page, share the post, be entered for $100 cash, $50 gift card to Salt Hill, bouquet of flowers. So,
Nice. John Paul, if you're watching. He doesn't have Facebook.
mail you some flowers up to Texas. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it's good. So, like giving away stuff when we can, and obviously I just like that anyways. Like that's the advantage of having a business. As stressful as it is, and there's a lot of negatives to it, but then the positives are like, okay, can we, the school kids need this or that or whatever, or the town or any of those things, like to be able to give as much as you can.
Was your brother and you before that, or
Yeah.
y'all have always sponsored kids and
Yeah, we just like won a carnival and just different things and tried it, right? Like try to give back the best you can, and obviously, I always wish we could do more. And so, like, the more successful businesses, like the more you want to do, the more you can do, and and we're so blessed in this town because there's so many people in this community that do that, whether they give their time or they give these local businesses, Valleys and Harringtons and Carroll Concrete and all these places out there.
they donate.
Stevens Construction, United Construction, all these companies, Key Chevy, all these companies give all the time to the school, to town, to chamber, to everything, which benefits our town, and that's why we're so keen on like, hey,
Even mobile. Remember, because we were like, had a conversation one day about big businesses don't, and then like the next school board meeting they gave $5,000 for STEM
so
equipment or whatever it was. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, so there's so much of that stuff. Like, we've got grants from like Hypertherm for like robotics, and so there's so many of these things that these local businesses do, and just so shout out to all those people that put so much into this town and want to make this town great, and the success of our students and just our residents in general. So, yeah, no, it's great. So, like I said, that's a real easy thing, and so I had to switch up how we did the sponsor stuff on the show, not because I didn't like the way it was. It's just because for some reason when I edit, I couldn't figure out why when you were gone, like suddenly it was taking like 2-3 hours to share a show. And originally when we started doing the show, the other computer was like that. It took forever. And so I bought this like $3,500
Beard Productions bought it.
yeah, this MacBook that it was fast.
Yeah.
It uploads the clip into the computer fast, and then it edits, shares fast. So then suddenly it's like falling on its face, and I'm like looking and looking and looking, and I can't find anything that would change it, right? And the only thing I could think of was like, So we had like Beard Sewer and Drain there, and then I had Sunshine Realty there, and then I had Twin State Paving here. When I added those layers into that timeline, it was creating like long periods of time to actually share it, which I don't have long periods of time, because when it takes 3 times as long as the show is it just is not, can't happen. So what we're doing is just however long the show is, I just break it into, if we have 3 sponsors, then we just have this one sponsor there. The other thing too is
Maybe we could do at the beginning, like have all 3, or
yeah, well,
like, you know what I mean? So it's seen, because some people may not make it to the end.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you've watched our show too, like in the intro is the 3 sponsors are in there, and then at the end of the show too. But also, I like just the other thing too is if you have your computer back out here, like you had the Twin State, like we can do that too, which isn't using editing to do it,
Right.
And so we can certainly do that too. Like if you have your computer and put one, I put one on here, and then we have one there. It will fix our
that'll make
issue.
it- yeah, let's do
So
that.
last week, one of the shows, might have been the one with Barry, had no sponsors on it because I needed the thing to like edit and go, and then the show with Jeff Kessel was like extremely long, and I doubt anyone got through that whole show. I personally wouldn't have got through the whole show. Not that it's a
You can get through it if you're like driving around. And
if you're listening to it, but
and you're interested in.
yeah, and that thing took forever to upload on YouTube because when I go home, the internet's pretty good. It uploads pretty quick. That thing was so big, it just took forever. I'm like, do. So finally gets up, and it is interesting though because those two shows got the least numbers of watches that we've had since like the beginning of our shows, which was interesting. Yeah, I was like,
Didn't advertise it good enough.
no, just they're not as interested in those two people as they are just me or you or me and Lydia. Or
It's
me.
mostly you. I got some of that feedback yesterday.
Yeah, that was one of the
interesting.
coolest things. Like, just when I was there, we had I think it was one or two people come up and be like, "Hey, watch your show," and I have no clue who they are. I've never seen them before, and it was great feedback. And then you said you had a bunch of people throughout
Yeah,
the day.
I was like, "Oh, hey, I'm Steve. I know who you are. Watch your show." And I'm like, "But I don't know your name. That's cool that you know me."
I've made you a target.
Nah.
It's all good.
I mean, it was interesting yesterday sitting out there and, politicking, if you will, or trying to hand out cards, which I'm not very good at. I don't like cold calls, if you will. You're good at it. And now after watching old Bert Spalding Sr., he's pretty good at it. But the thing that made me laugh is just as watching people walk by and then people who didn't want anything to do with anybody. It wasn't just like us trying to hand them a card, but there are people like, oh, like they're just like angry that as they go in to vote. It's like, what are you so angry about? How can we fix that? Because I haven't ever seen you at a meeting before. You're
probably
27 years old. You're acting very cocky, and you could help make a difference. The founding fathers were like in their 20s and 30s and 40s. That 40s was old. Most of them were in their 20s.
Very young, yeah.
So get involved. I just thought it was funny because you know what I'm talking about, the attitude of like, hey, get that shit away from me. Like,
They're watching too much of the news, too much CNN and Fox News, any of those.
yeah, that's the chance to get to meet and know people, though. Your whole town, there's what, 900 and something voters.
I didn't see the numbers, but
Well, if it's 704,
it was 704, 145.
so about
It's about 850.
900,
It just depends on, some people might not have voted on that article at
Yeah,
all.
that's true.
Because we have seen that. But yeah, so around 850, 900 roughly, which isn't a horrible turnout, which isn't too bad. But, like to see better turnout, of course. But we'll always say that even if we have a good turnout, we'll be still like, hey, because, I mean, if there's 7,000 people, if you got 1,000 kids, so you got 6,000 people potentially that could be voters, then we'd like to see more.
Yeah, you'd expect to see about a really good turnout in a country or a town that love the fact that they can participate and dictate how their government functions. Should be about 2,000 people showing up yesterday to vote,
So I think what people don't
or 1,800.
understand, and it's probably almost purposely done, but is people don't understand the value of their vote and the fact that their voice does count. And I get it, like presidential elections. Yeah, all right, you know what? Kind of now looking at it, I'm like, yeah, your voice probably doesn't really count. But local stuff, it counts. Like, I've been there, and, it was the funniest thing ever, too. So we were standing out there, and up comes a town truck, and one of the workers hops out, and he was there for the school stuff, so he must be involved with whatever his part of the town's maintenance
set up,
whatever, with elections. He pops the tailgate down, he takes out the dolly, and there's like 8 boxes in the back of the truck. And I was, at the time, I think I was standing next to Jim Burrows and Jeff North, I think. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, something like that. And I was like, are those the ballots they're bringing in? The boxes of those ballots,
They're always found in the trunk.
That are always found in a trunk that are set up. And it was funny. It was, and then Bert goes right over and opens the box, wants to know exactly what's in the box, and it was town reports. But it was kind of funny though, because, and like I said, we were there all day for the school one, and yeah, and I know with this voter stuff, I'm sure it happens places. I mean, that county out in Arizona, that, yeah, I'm sure a lot of not cool and not legal things are happening there, but
It seems like it.
yeah, but I can assure you the things like I've seen in Newport, it's just legit. It's just they count the ballots, and there's so many little checks in the system and everything. It's
Yeah, I participated in that on the school.
yeah, you count it and
You double check, make sure there's no stray marks. If there's a rejected ballot, you look to see if you can figure out
yeah. So
if a circle was filled in or not. So sitting in and doing our local town ones, I'm pretty confident.
yeah, your voice counts. Your voice is heard, and get out and vote. Show up to meetings, and well, that was one of the things that the lady was talking to us was that she doesn't like going to the meetings in the sense because first of all, if there's a lot of people like the striping thing, there's no place to sit. Which absolutely, there's 2 meetings had standing room only. And they feel almost like they can be attacked too if they speak about something, and that's not okay. Everybody should come and speak however they like and discuss what's bothering them or whatever. And oftentimes things are just miscommunication, misunderstanding, but everyone should have feel comfortable to come. Hey, yeah, please come here.
Yeah, I would only say the thing that I've learned being on the school board is that sometimes sitting on the board side of it, you can't or you shouldn't respond on certain things because of implications. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's some things you shouldn't
some things
necessarily
where it's
respond then, but you should definitely get back to them afterwards,
yes.
which is something that our boards try to do better and need to do better is, okay, let's make a note. Mrs. So-and-so asked this question, so that next meeting, here's the answer. Because you're right, we don't always know the answer right then and there.
Yeah, and you're right, and we do need to make sure that I try to write down everybody that comes in to speak that signs up. I try to write down a summary to see if there's something, if they're just voicing and they just want to be heard and they want to, and even then sometimes one of us may respond depending on, and then other times other deeper things that maybe I can't respond to them about, but I can get with Donna, who then she can get with building principals and directors. Anyway, it's tough. It's not easy, but it's rewarding to participate. And so anytime there's a vote, it's encouraged. And most of our watchers, if not all, vote. But
yeah, get out, vote.
We gotta help motivate our neighbors to go out and vote.
It's just so important, and
I didn't see a lot of young kids. I saw a few young kids voting yesterday, but not enough.
Yeah, I don't know if Adriano got there or not.
He did.
Did he? Okay. I know Alicia
got there.
Alicia got there. And actually, yeah, Adriano did get there because I was down in a hole.
I saw Maddie Miller.
You see Maddie?
And then 2 or 3 couples in their 20s. And then after that, it was all older. The younger generation's they're not thinking about it. Because they're enjoying life.
But it's also probably
they need to think about it because they can.
Well, it's probably something too we should be doing to school better is teaching how your civic duty and how important it is.
Yeah, I think it helps having Steven on the board, having the student representative because he can go back and he can influence us.
Yeah, and I like
you and he see eye to eye on the discipline thing. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
as a student, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not agree 100%, but y'all are on the same.
Right. No, I like the feedback because you live it every day. I don't live it every day. I mean, I hear about it maybe from my kids, but you're there, you're in it, so that feedback.
Because even when we walk around, some kids are probably like, who's this guy? And they're not going to be their full.
Right, or when Donna's in middle school for the whole day, they suddenly are like, ooh, we better be good. It's like, and Letty's like, that's not normally how it is. And I'm like, no, I get it. It's like bringing the car to the mechanic. Freaking things all over the road on the way here, pull in there, and it's like, mechanic's like, what's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with this thing. Yeah, so thank you for everyone that went out and voted and
interacted with us.
Interacted with Steve. It was cold as hell yesterday morning, though. I was wearing shorts and
I was surprised. I had on
man, it's been
winter
so
clothing
warm
yesterday, basically.
This morning it's warmer. I have shorts on. I was like, hey, it's not bad out. And but it was fun. Just like it was kind of fun watching Bert because it's a different side of Bert we haven't seen, and he's just out interacting with people. And like I said, some people love Bert, some people hate Bert, and that's kind of thing. Like me and Jim Burrows are talking about a lot. It's like it's a 50-50 thing. Half the town will love you, half the town will hate you, half the town will like decisions you make, half they won't. And then the people that get in the middle to try to make it all work are the ones that they crush the most because I think he's like talking about Karate Kid or something. Mr. Miyagi, like left side good, right side good, middle, like breaking neck. Like it's just, and it's interesting. Like, and it does seem, do I think it's 50-50 all the time? No. But is it more split like that? Yeah, probably. I don't always understand how it could be so split because I feel like some things are common sense. Like, okay, we need to do this, and how could you not support it? But hey, at the end of the day, if you're trying to make the best decision you can,
like the well was almost a no-brainer. Like that one was the easy.
Yeah, that was the easiest one I thought on there.
It's affordable. They got the government subsidizing it because
$3 million. $3 million was covered, and 500,000 we have to cover. Okay, let's do that. That's smart.
New well that supports the town.
No, it's good. That was a smart move, smart money. That's good. And it was
the veterans discount pass. So
that was a no-brainer.
You never know.
Nah, it's a no-brainer.
Really?
Yeah, that's like fire and police. Well, that's like fire and police.
It's like football in the library.
Yep.
You don't mess with the football or with sports or the library. I said football, but I meant sports.
Football, particularly, but yeah.
Well, on the school board, it's sports.
Yes.
Town, it's library.
Yeah, and thankfully that passed because now they can get the roof fixed. And
she got flipped off by somebody yesterday when she was like, "Hey, vote for 13." He turned around and flipped her off.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. There's some like angry people out there. It wasn't a lot. There were about 8 or 9. I'd say less than 10, but there were some that were just like sneered angrily like you were the scum of the earth for trying to...
See, that proves the point right there. That whole 50-50 divide thing makes no sense because how could you be against the library roof getting fixed? And someone will go, oh, it's not my responsibility. It's not my library. Well, yeah, it kind of is. Like, hello? I mean, I get it. If they want a whole new library, yeah, I'd be all against that because we don't need a whole new library.
No, it's a historical
But we need to fix the roof because it's leaking in the building.
It's a historical building. It's part of our scenic, bucolic downtown drive.
They put an apple pie fair on every year, which draws more people to town than any other event. So just that alone pays for itself, in my opinion. But you know how it is. We were standing out there, 2 years ago, about the masking thing with Lydia and Emilio, and we'd have people flip us off. So there's a child out there with a sign saying my rights are being violated, and you flip them off because you're a piece of shit. On the masking thing.
Well, I don't know if you're a piece of shit or you're gullible and you fell for the propaganda.
Like the people wearing masks yesterday, I was like, dude, don't even
There were a lot of them.
I was like, don't give them a card.
There were like 25, 30 people still wearing masks.
I was like, don't bother giving them a card because they are not going to be able to, you're not getting through to them. Like 3 years later. No.
Hey, they worked over the whole country with their...
Oh, yeah. Their immune system's probably suffering because you're wearing a mask.
I've read newer reports about the dangers of wearing a mask prolonged periods.
You have to be exposed to
updated
things.
From the time that I tried to tell that there's science showing that it's detrimental across all aspects, adults down to children. Now there's more updated research out there that anybody can go find. I can tell you, and then you would just be repeating me, and then it'd be a game of telephone, and you'd mess something up, and then somebody would prove you wrong or me wrong, but you just go read it for yourself and develop your own opinions.
But Dr. Fauci said...
I don't think anybody still said... Well, those 30 people might, but that's just... to me, I feel, maybe out of those 30, a few of them have immunocompromised, they need to. Like, what I'm saying? But some of them, no, they're just...
And those ones that have the compromised immune system, whether it's a cancer or some sort of thing, like they're not wearing a cloth mask either. They're going to wear an N95 that actually protects you. The cloth mask just makes you look like an idiot because it does jack shit. Like, it makes you feel safe. It's like, no, you're not safe.
allegedly, according to some research.
We were talking about this guy the other day that apparently puts like aluminum foil over his cell phone because he thinks it's bad. And then we're kind of joking about it. I'm like, yeah, joke about it now, 5 years from now. And I was like, yeah, your cell phones are killing you. Should have put aluminum foil over it.
You know, that's why I tried, like, I'm not even like making fun of them. I feel for them, for the ones that have been duped and believe that that's helping them in some form or fashion.
Or they're helping society.
Yeah, like I feel, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not angry at them. I feel bad for them because they're not receiving the message that the whole message was fake to begin with, or it was not necessarily, well, yeah, it's fake.
They faked it.
This episode will get pulled, but do they still pull it for that?
No.
We'll move to Twitter if they do.
I know. Twitter, the new free universe where we can do things and then you get people like, oh, Tucker Carlson shouldn't be able to just freely speak.
I know. NBC News said that.
You realize this is the United States of America. Like, someone, like, really need to brush up on this stuff. The First Amendment.
You can say anything other than fighting words. You can be racist. You can be sexist, misogynist.
Anything.
All that means is for people with decency are like, I'm not going to hang out around with this person. I don't want to be seen with them.
Right.
And all that does is help you so that you don't end up getting fooled by someone who's hiding it. And then it comes to find out, and then you're associating with this person, and you never knew that they had these thoughts because they censor themselves instead of just speaking freely.
You realize this is where this whole sheep thing comes from. You're a sheep, wolf eats a sheep because the sheep's like, oh, it's all good, it's all good. Then, well, the sheep's clothing comes off. No, that was a wolf.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it comes from. You just don't give away your rights because it's like, it's for the good of the country. No.
The good of the country is an open ideas, discussion, debate, arguments, so that you get to the root. It's almost like trust the science. That's the most unscientific thing ever. If you paid attention in science class in the 6th through 8th grade when you learn the scientific method. Yeah. You develop a hypothesis, you test it, you develop a theory, you test it again, and then maybe if other people can duplicate and replicate your results, then it becomes somewhat of a fact. And it's still questionable because someone might come along down the road and figure out that you actually messed something up and your calculations off, and really it was, variable 9 or X that changed it, not variable K. Like, it just frustrates me. It's like,
right. If we just said trust the science, you go back 50 years, look at the science and look at it today. So if we just trusted it and never tested it, never did anything with it, we would still.
What happens when you overly trust the government, the science, anything else? Everybody oversteps, and it's not necessarily.
You get put in train cars and brought to your execution. 6 million Jews. Not long ago. Not long ago at all. Well, no, that would never happen here. Okay.
FEMA camps?
Yeah, are you watching what's been happening? Have you seen what happened in Australia? They had camps where they put COVID people. Yeah. So don't tell me, oh, it can't happen here. No, it happened.
You got leaders saying something 4 months ago and then straight up look you in the camera and lie. And then you can play the clip where they're lying, and then you can play the clip where they're saying exactly what they said they didn't say. Mm-hmm. And they'll still continue to lie and say, I didn't say that.
Korean Jean Paul, whatever, the press secretary, and KJP came out, and under Biden, immigration coming across the border illegally is down 90%.
Just she's like, do you remember
put down the meth pipe, girl, because it is really.
Do you remember when the Iraq War started off? Do you remember Baghdad Bob or whatever, their main propagandist that was almost like a circus show? That's basically what America is right now. Yeah. Watching her at those conferences is like watching Baghdad Bob. Yeah. And people, I think most, like 70 or 64%, 66% would agree with us. I'm just worried about the 34% that thinks he's doing a good job. Like,
that's the concerning part. Hey, I give her kudos because she comes out, lies every day, and somehow manages to do it.
I don't give her any credit. I mean, what a sorry state of your life that you go out there and lie for them intentionally. Every day you go out there knowing that you're covering up for a crime family. Screw her. She's garbage. I have no respect for her.
She's a hottie though.
No, she's like, oh man, I don't know. I saw like a Cabbage Patch Kid, and so I can't ever even look at her that way again because I see her as like a Cabbage Patch. It was like, however she had her hair one day, and like however they had the Cabbage Patch. I mean, it like literally looked like it was 1986, and she was a living Cabbage Patch doll. It was pretty funny, but you know, it was like a meme or whatever. But it's pretty funny. I don't know. I don't have any respect for her because she goes out and lies every day for that family, and he's a crook.
Yeah, they've about proven that already.
Yeah.
All right, a few more local things, then we can get into
Allegedly.
Yeah. I don't know why you use allegedly all the time. All right, so today.
Protecting Beard Productions. Hey, I don't want them to come and get your laptop. Take away my dining room chairs that we've been sitting in.
Take my desk that I made here.
Yeah, they'll leave the desk. They'll be like, you keep the desk.
Yeah, that's some pretty shoddy work there. You keep that. So today at 4, softball game at home versus Monadnock. The girls are 7-0 on the season.
Oh, congratulations, girl.
Yeah, they're doing awesome. And then this Friday they have a game home versus Fall Mountain. And we have a game, JV, Thursday at 4 in Kearsarge. So I'll be a little late for that school board meeting. Which originally had a game, and then I found out, oh, no game. So I was like, okay, great, because I have a school board meeting. So I told you, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good, because you're going to make the meeting a little later. And then I found out 2 days ago, I'm like, oh, I do have a game, which, you know, it is what it is. We want to play games, obviously, and as committed, obviously, to the school board as I am, I'm just a smidge more committed to my JV girls that,
I mean, that,
you know. So I'll just be there late.
Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah. I don't want that to be taken the wrong way, but yeah.
No, I know.
I know what you mean. You're not saying it's not important, but you're saying.
No, it's very important. But
yeah, they're both important. The girls are counting on you. They put a lot of hard work and effort. The board will still have a quorum. We can deal with it until you get there.
yeah.
Just want to make sure, you know, because it's kind of flippant. I know you didn't mean it that way, but you never know. You can get screenshotted or clipped, and
I'm the last person that worries about those things because I just strip.
I am the last person because I don't even have social media. So people could be out there talking. I don't read the news. I don't watch the news.
I find it and tell you all about it. Like, oh, Steve, look what I found about you. Just because you ain't got it, don't mean I won't share it with you. Another thing that's pretty cool was last Saturday was the Sunshine 5K, which I feel like that wasn't advertised very good this year, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. It could be either or.
I think we're missing one of our calendars that we
something because
we used to have a lot more. We were on top of things a little bit more last year.
Yeah, and then like while you were gone, it was crazy because there's so many things going on. It made the show so easy because I'm like just talking about all the things going on. Today I like really had to search for things and like ooh, but the reason I would even bring up the Sunshine 5K is because I had a softball game on Saturday anyways. But Timmy Fratzel was a senior in high school in Newport. He was the overall winner, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so Chief Wilmot didn't run it,
no,
win it this year.
No, but yeah, I saw that. I was like, that's cool, good for him. And actually, he just turned 18, and I saw his dad put a picture on. Voted yesterday for the first time, which is awesome. I love when
he's one of the young ones that I counted.
Yep, he's a good kid. He is. He's done a lot of good things in school, and will do good things in the future. And but yeah, congratulations. He's on the track team, and then he won the 5K, which take it from people.
They did not run downhill this year because I drove down.
Yeah,
because I didn't realize it was this weekend, and I'm pretty sure they turned around in the cemetery.
That's what they used to do. And then me and you, let's do that. And then we go down that hill and walk down there and then come back. And yeah.
Yeah, so they got rid of the hill this year.
I think that's because they heard we were doing it and they're like, let's make it really hard for these two overweight men. Yeah, good times.
Trying to raise money for charity will teach them.
It's funny, too, because I mentioned this before you came back, and then I meant to. There's so much going on. We did 3 shows last week, but 2 of them were just in the same day and trying to get like candidates on and everything. But last Thursday at the Library Arts Center, or the library, I think it was, had a gardening workshop.
Oh, nice.
And I was talking about how, like, we should go to it. And I was joking, like, about you, more of a gardening expert than myself. But I was picking on you, like, maybe Steve probably should go to this and whatever. But we just didn't get a chance to.
Oh, man, I would, because I'm always open to learn stuff. My niece out in Colorado, my brother built her like a 8x10 little raised bed.
Nice.
And I think she planted probably a week too early. There was some damage. But anyway, so she and I talk probably once a week or text just about how our seedlings are doing, how our soil is. So it's always trying to learn, basically to stay ahead of my niece, but also because I really want a productive garden out there to where when you pull up my driveway, you're like, oh, wow, look at that whole row of cabbage, man. Who's he feeding? What's he going to do with all that cabbage?
I hope you're.
I mean, cabbage is one, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to, like.
Yeah, like.
I mean, it looked good last year, but with me going and taking Zeta and then being gone for 3 weeks and then.
Leaving me with your garden. That was huge. And
well, you and Nikki did a good job keeping it watered. I failed somehow on my cucumbers.
Yeah, you got to change the location of them.
And did I tell you that? So I've replanted my tomatoes now. This is twice in the seedling trays. Still no seedlings. So I'm going to dump the dirt and start all over and try to get a 4-week seedling before I plant beginning of June.
So I have my stuff out in the greenhouse, and I don't know.
Do you have any tomatoes?
I don't know what's come up out there. I don't know much.
So I have hybrid, genetically modified tomatoes that grew in there. All my heirloom seeds are the ones that haven't bloomed. The hybrids are this big. Yes.
But the heirlooms don't grow.
The heirlooms have not popped up. I took my finger around again because I replanted them about a week ago when I got home, and they hadn't grown because I was gone for 20 days, and no tomato popped up. Well, 3 of them, 3 beef eaters popped up, or beefsteak. So anyway, so when I get back from picking up the car, I'm going to replant my tomato seedlings. I'm going to grab that midline buster to try to make the rows for the garden. I'm all excited. Of course, that's going to take away from my chair fund, my chainsaw fund.
Chairs. I noticed that. So the other day you texted me like, "Hey, chairs or trees?" And clearly it's trees because I pulled in this morning. I'm like, "Oh, look, there's trees out there."
Hey, yeah, so the chairs keep getting bumped down. Well, these are comfortable. I mean,
what are you thinking, Steve? 20 years from now, when the trees are big enough, we'll make chairs out of them. Yeah. So, no, we gotta see. You're so far ahead with the garden thing because we just really need to go down that road till that bad boy, and we'll be good. Me, I'm moving my garden behind my garage, which is a much better place for it.
I'm so sad about your strawberries. It bothers me every day. I think about.
I hate it too. Trust me.
My
strawberries are under logs that weren't supposed to be put there, but put there, and which it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I'm just kind of disappointed because they were actually starting to do pretty good.
They spread out so nicely and rerouted. Like every time it branched out, almost all of them, because I picked those weeds when you were on vacation.
So hopefully the Bonnie Farms will have a bunch of strawberry plants that Arbishon's going to share, and we'll go down and buy a bunch and start again. And the Bascom Road, the farm up there, the blueberry farm, whatever up there, he has blueberry bushes again, but I think 4-year-old ones are the oldest ones he has, and last year I got 7-year-old ones, which then produced berries right off. And I probably should just go buy a few 4-year-olds.
How much are they? Do you know?
I'm not sure. Maybe $30 or something. I don't know.
I wonder if I should put some along the fence or something.
Get a couple.
Like put them inside the fence, maybe
or even just outside your fence of it.
I'm thinking about putting the apple trees between the 2 trees here on the the south side.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, couple more things.
West side. No, yeah, west side.
The potting bench at Sugar River Valley Regional Technical Center. Greenhouse plant sale is opening for the season May 13th, so Saturday.
Edgar just asked me about that.
9 to 3. They accept cash, check, cards. For more information, you can reach out to Deb Stevens at sugarriverffa@gmail.com. Hanging plants annuals planter pots, succulents, and herbs.
No perennials? What the heck? What day is that?
Starts this Saturday from 9 to 3.
All right. I'm just. They have a good sell. Yeah, I'll be there at some point. Because it's nice because you go and you spend money, you give to the school, and then July or late mid-June, if they haven't sold everything, then they, set it outside for people to come and grab. So I try to buy a lot so that whenever I pick up free stuff after the school year's over,
you don't feel guilty.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty.
All right, one other thing I thought was pretty cool was New Hampshire Stonewall Mapper Project, Newport Historical Society presents Rick Chorman. Is in a program with the New Hampshire Stonewall Mappers using LiDAR technology and learn how you can help identify the remains of and outlines of historic stone walls, many buried beneath our forest floors, and creating a complete LiDAR mapping of stone walls in New Hampshire. This is Thursday, May 18th from 6:30 to 7:45. You're writing this down too?
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
At the Newport Richards Library Ballroom. Free.
Thursday
the 18th.
18 May, LiDAR.
Yep. Handicap accessible, light refreshments served, and as usual.
You say it's at Richards?
Yeah.
The library?
Newport Richards.
Free library?
That's what they did here.
So it's not Richards Elementary, it's
They messed this up. I see now. It's the Richards Free Library Ballroom. They put the free after ballroom. That's why I'm like, what? I mean, unless they, yeah. So anyways,
what time start?
6:30, goes to 7:45, which is really cool because stone walls are very a New Hampshire thing, like a New England thing, and like I have stone walls at my house that are boundary, and some that I want to redo and make nicer and stuff. And you get stone walls here that were, the people before you paid to have them put in down front, and they look really nice. But these will be like because this is what they did. We have.
Have you never walked around my property?
Just to the pond.
There's a stone wall that goes through my pond.
Through the pond?
Yeah. They dug up obviously part of it, but so you can see the stone wall here, and it comes out on the other side.
So this makes sense. So if you go back into the day, right? We'll go back to the early 1900s, 1800s, whatever. And so, and we know this from our gardening experience. So the second you put a shovel in the soil here in New Hampshire, rocks come out. It just magically. We are fantastic at growing rocks. And so what are you going to do with rocks when you need to clear pastures? And because New Hampshire used to be 85% farmland, and now it's reverted back the other way. And so what else are we going to do with rocks? And build stone walls and make boundaries with them. And so which is a cool story, plus smart, because what else am I going to do with them? Of course, you have some rocks down there that almost took dynamite to get out of the ground.
Yeah, they're gigantic.
Big, yeah. But yeah, this is cool. There's no charge. Didn't say anything about charge. So just something else the library's putting on. And
I'm gonna go. Is it so you can volunteer to? Does it say, or is it just an information briefing?
I think it's a big information about it, and probably gonna teach you about different walls and how to find them, look for them, and stuff.
That's interesting because I figured it out one time. There's probably like 4 different property lines on my property, based on the stone walls. The way that they close off anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool. Like that's a cool New
I have a lot of stone walls. I can't believe you thought all I had was that one up there that got knocked down this winter.
You have one over there too.
It's like
all right. So I misspoke. Should know, and just the fact that
we're in New Hampshire.
It's New Hampshire. You live in the sticks. It's kind of a normal thing, I guess. I wasn't thinking that, but
I didn't want to be left out. I got stone walls down. I like them though. That's why I want to go to this thing is because I follow them.
I'm like property markers.
It's cool.
It is. I love it. I saw this thing. So the fire danger day today is a high class 4 day. So campfire you can still do a campfire, but no brush piles. And usually this happens this time of year, every year, until the leaves are fully out. And, after the leaves are fully out, then it's not as bad. But this time of year can tricky. I haven't seen many, luckily, knock on wood, forest fires or, brush fires, whatever, lately. But, yeah, that wraps up my news for New Hampshire, Newportish. One thing I saw, and I heard some of this, and I saw a thing earlier today on this, and so it kind of talked about how, talking about banning gas stoves, which New York is trying to do.
They did with new builds.
Did they do it? There you go. So now they're coming after.
Like there's certain parameters, but they're basically banning it in new builds starting in 2025 or whatever.
So now the new things that they're trying to go after, and not like just New York, like the federal government, whatever, is air conditioning, because you shouldn't have air conditioning because it takes electricity. We're going to save it for all those electric cars we can't charge. And dishwashers.
I mean, it's so obvious, people. There is a group of people within our federal government that wants to make life miserable for all of us.
Then they want to show you just how much power they perceivably have and that you won't do nothing about it.
Stand up and keep buying dishwashers and stoves and live the life that makes you happy, as long as it doesn't infringe on anyone else's rights.
They sure like to infringe on your rights, though, don't they?
They do. You owe it to other people. I don't owe anybody anything other than to leave them alone.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't owe you jack squat other than to ignore you if I come into contact with you. I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to like you. I don't have to be your friend. I don't have to communicate with you. I don't have to live in the house that you want me to live in. I can do whatever I want. It's America. Don't forget that, people. Individualism. The government works for us.
Yeah, some people get mad about that. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're like against this or that or whatever. And it's like, what don't you understand about they work for us? And that you're mad that I say that? Like, what didn't you understand about this country and how it works? They work for us. It's we the people. It's our government.
Yeah, we don't belong to the government. The government belongs to us, and the government we should be the ones auditing the government. The government shouldn't be auditing me to find out why I got a $600 payment on Venmo for something.
Right.
Do your analysis and figure out that I bought something for someone else and they're paying me back.
Right. Let's audit the people.
I'm not going to tell you about it. You don't need to know any of that. It's not income.
Right. It's
called being a person and having a life and helping people out whenever I'm out at the store.
So we got to audit you for that $600 transfer you did, but we won't worry about the $2 trillion that the federal government lost. Who's here?
Are you expecting somebody?
No, I don't expect anybody. You found it? Your ring's working again.
Andrea.
It's my wife. What's she doing?
Well, she's leaving now. Or backing up. Yep, she's leaving. Maybe she put something in the truck.
Bomb?
Did you make her mad?
No, kidding.
Too busy? You're not giving it enough time?
Too busy is great. Yeah, too busy for sure.
I know you're too busy because we've talked like once. You know what I mean? Like we haven't been talking much in the last 2 weeks since I've been home. Or week? How long have I been home? Week? Yeah.
Last week you got home.
About 10 days.
Well, last Saturday. This will be 2 weeks this Saturday, but yeah. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
It's good. I'm glad to see you busy.
It'll calm down a little bit once softball's done, but I don't look forward to the end of it though because
You're having fun.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy doing it.
Well, it was a good game the other day. I went out and
I
watched the first inning, and that was a brutal game. We won't talk much more about that.
The Thursday game.
Yeah, and then I watched. Was it Saturday?
Saturday.
I sat there with Mr. Miller and talked to him for a while, and the girls did really well. I mean, they didn't win, but
no, it was a good game though.
Way better than Thursdays. Like the hitting, the fielding.
They're coming into it, and that's why it's kind of unfortunate at times because I feel like you just get into a sport and it kind of ends when it's starting to like, hey, they're really getting the hang of it, and it's like almost need to extend this a little bit so that like we're just getting good now. Like, come on, like you finally get out of the gym and you're on the field, and the field came out awesome. Stevens did a great job with it. It's so nice to have that field. You just got to get the. I was telling Dave the other day, I was like, hey, I need to get. There's a water hookup down there, so I can go down there and water the field down, which sounds odd, but first of all, that field I know will take a couple inches of water with no issue because that whole week of rain, that field wasn't trash. It was good, and so it's getting dry now. But just so we can water it really good at night, before the next day having a game because with the moisture in it, it's easy to do the lines. When it's dry, the lines don't want to, because it's like a spray paint stuff. Yeah. But no, it's very fortunate. It came out really nice and been a pleasure working on it. And yeah, it's been a pleasure coaching. It's been a good time. You know, it's got its ups and downs, of course, like anything, but it's been good, and the girls have come a long ways and put a lot of effort in. And we practiced with varsity last night because middle school had a game, and I was like, oh, how's this going to work? Because we practiced right with them, and it was good because it challenges the girls. You know, because most of these varsity girls are a good level above them. We're fortunate in Newport. We've got a bunch of girls that play travel ball too, who play year round basically, and so we have some really good, talented girls in Newport. And it's good for my girls to see and play with them. And like most of my team are 8th graders too, which I try to tell them that too. Like, you guys are 8th graders. You're not even technically in high school yet. So just think how as you going into high school, and it's going to be better and better. And it was good to practice with them because they get to see things and they get to learn from the girls, and they're intimidated too, which I don't understand. Like, don't be intimidated. Like, but it's good though because you wanna, if you practice with that feeling, you know, it's kind of like game day, right?
Yeah.
Game day is kind of like, oh, it's game day. And the thing that's impressed me with most of my girls, I guess, is that when it comes to game day, they've kind of elevated up their game. They step up, and we've had a couple. We had the last 2 games. The last game wasn't really bad. The pitching's tough. It's very hard because, you know, I have one primary pitcher, then I have another one that's still trying to get to where she can do, you know, games. And in this league, pitching's tough. Like, if, you know, you walk a lot of girls, which is what happens, you know, the score gets out of hand real quick. And so it's a tough thing with pitching. But they've all, like, really stepped up their game. And Saturday was a good game. I mean, it was a loss, but it was still a great game. They played really well. And so I look forward to Thursday, and hopefully they'll you know, step up again. We'll be at Kearsarge. And
hey, you had a pretty good turnout for the games too.
yeah, Saturday was nice. Yeah, it's nice to get people. You know, I get it. We're a football town, and everyone says that, and I agree. Yeah, we are, and I love football. I love it. I'm one of the first people. Like, I love it. I do the chains. And it's best view I think there is. That is great, but we need to support all our sports and all our kids the best we can. And personally, I love softball. It's something I've always loved: softball, baseball,
and they've got a good record.
They've got a great record. And as long as they keep playing well, like, they should continue to do very well. And it'll get very difficult come playoffs because there's some really, really tough teams out there. One of the ones they played last year, I think in the quarterfinals, was Prospect Mountain.
Oh yeah,
and they're also really good this year. But I think the girls are even better this year, the varsity girls. So
that's awesome.
You know, there's
still sports to watch. It's warm weather coming up. It's
beautiful.
Beautiful for the next week. Lows in the 40s, 50s, and highs in the 70s.
Yeah, it's awesome. So today, 4 o'clock, right down the softball field. Friday at 4 o'clock, same thing. Today, take my on. Friday will be Fall Mountain. And, check it out. We'll be over in Kearsarge on Thursday. And then I'm not sure what the schedule is for next week, but I think we have a few games next week too. So, it's a good time. Get out. Just there's bleachers there. Sit and watch it. Kind of can sit in your car in a way in some spots, but it's nice out. Get out, support the kids. So cool. On that note, have a great day. It's going to be beautiful out all the rest of the week, from what I understand. So get out, do some yard work, suck up some of that vitamins. What is it? Vitamin D from the sun, and enjoy it.
And appreciate everybody that stopped by the area yesterday and that watches the show or listens to us. It's great. Appreciate it. Anytime y'all want to come on, if you want to come in, you can email Tim at Tim and Steve Show, New Hampshire.
Tim and Steve Show,
NH
at gmail.com. Yeah, if you want to message me and say, hey, I want to come on the show, and we can make that happen, and we can just tell you what time, and
you can either come in live or not live. We won't do a live broadcast, but you can come in and sit with us, or we can call you, right? You still have that capability on your switchboard?
We do. Yeah.
So it's out there. Anybody that wants to have a conversation,
yep,
call us up.
Yeah. And lastly, I just want to say thank you to Herb Teller for the last 3 years being on the select board and putting his time in and effort into there. And he was on the zoning board his last meeting with me as the alternate for Jeff. And I do appreciate, I don't agree with everything. Obviously I don't agree with everybody on everything, and vice versa, of course. But I want to thank him for his, his 3 years.
It's a hard, thankless job. So thank you, Herb.
It is. I want to say thank you. I did message him this morning and be like, hey, I want to thank you. And I told him, I was like, hey, we still have a school board seat open. If you want to switch over to this side and, fill that in, because he's got a big heart. He's a good guy. But I'm excited to see, get some change in town and just kind of see where it goes. And, now we just need to keep working together as the town and make it better and better and better. So, all right, guys, thank you for watching the Tim and Steve Show. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Till I see the golden gates, troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues.